What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode on the channel. Today, it's another Movie Bro special. Unfortunately, Steve couldn't make it, so it's going to be myself and my friend Ricardo. We're going to do the dynamic duo on this biatch, which is very appropriate because we're talking about Batman Forever, which has just turned 30 as of this year. Holy shit, man. We're getting
Bro,
old. You know,
I know, man.
Steve would be like, "Oh, dude, like, don't even go there." But like, dude, we're really like getting old now. Like,
I know it's
shit.
it's crazy. It's crazy to think that like a movie that I grew up with, I collected the cups, which you have right over there. The action figures, and then
Oh yeah.
going what was it, McDonald's, right? McDonald's.
Oh yeah, McDonald's is all up in that.
Yeah,
You know,
McDonald's,
they have
Burger
that.
King.
Hmm.
McDonald's and Burger King, you go get the collectibles. And that was one of the biggest things when it comes to movies in the 90s was that
Yeah.
you go see the movie or
Yep.
you haven't seen the movie and you
Mm.
go to McDonald's and get the toy and then go
Yep.
see the movie. Now,
Yep.
and I don't really see that. I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't really see that being advertised as much nowadays compared to like back then.
Yeah. It's not as much like I know that the Minecraft movie that just came out, they had a couple things like they did a cross promotion and they had
Yeah.
like those special boxes, kind of like they did with the Batman stuff. They've had the merchandise and the stuff like the toys and the collectibles, but it's
Mm.
not as big as it used to be, man. Like
Yeah.
when we were kids, man, like I mean, these are not cheap. These are like real glass, like legit like things right here. And
Yeah.
you know, back then, even something as simple as getting the Jim West and Gordon glasses from Wild Wild West back in the day at Burger King was like a big thing. You drive up and it's like, oh, we don't got any more Will Smith sunglasses. We just got the other dude. It's like, oh
Yeah. I
shit.
know.
Okay, whatever. But yeah, Batman Forever. I mean, so up until this point, Tim Burton like literally was like the dude for Batman, obviously because he did the two movies. But the thing is like it's so like everyone was like looking to that as kind of like okay, like this is the modern superhero. Like it's the first Batman film was like universally loved. They didn't expect it to be the magic like in a bottle that it was. And then Tim Burton, they're like, "Oh, Tim, this is you. This is all you. You know this." So they expected that they were going to get another one out of him, just kind of
Mm.
like in that not cookie cutter, but like setting that precedent, that same level and everything of story and success and all that stuff. So they brought pretty much everyone on board. Brought Keaton, him, you know, got Danny Elfman back on soundtrack stuff. But what happened was so far off the mark for what they were intending. I mean, this shit was dark. I mean, you're getting Catwoman freaking making out with a dude with a freaking stun gun and explosions happening. The guy's getting burnt. You're getting freaking the Penguin trying to kidnap all the children of Gotham so he can like send them to a watery grave, and then he gets like you know killed and stuff, and he's like literally like coughing out like this black goo and
Or
oozing
something.
blood,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, like you know, like holy shit, this is like nightmare fuel for kids,
Exactly,
technically.
exactly. I can remember like back in the 90s, just like watching Batman Returns and seeing it and like because I remember that one more obviously more than we're both born in 1990 and I remember that one more than I remember the first one to be honest. But I just remember like Penguin scaring the shit out of me, and that was like one of the things I remember all the time was Penguin was like scary.
My French
Um,
flipper trick.
yeah, so just going back to that, I think they were thinking and going into that mindset, I think they were thinking like, hey, we need to lighten this up a little bit more.
Yeah,
We need to change things up a little bit more. And obviously,
yeah.
we need to sell obviously, the action figures and get, different, team ups combinations with like different, toy
Yeah,
stores, restaurants, etc. Anywhere we can make more money with the movie, we got to do what we got to do. So
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, and from a business perspective, makes total sense. So, like, long story short, they broke it down for Tim, and he even said, "He's like, you don't want me to come back, do you?" He's like, "Okay." So that's when they kind of go and Joel Schumacher, who at the time, again, very fantastic director, did a bunch of different films, you know, Time to Kill, amongst others. And then, like,
mhm.
you know, he did like Phone Booth. He did a whole bunch of other ones. He did The Lost Boys and stuff. Like, this guy has a pedigree, like, had a track record of doing some really interesting films and stuff that was successful, cultish, and then kind of like, you know, well regarded films, right? So they bring him in. Obviously, I'm sure they kept Tim Burton on as executive producer so that way he could still make some money out of it. Because, I mean, the
Yeah.
dude gave the foundation for success, right? But
Yeah,
yeah, they were
he
looking
built the
for
universe.
that. Exactly,
Built the
exactly.
universe.
Because
Yeah.
even though that this has a different aesthetic, it's definitely still connected to those
Mhm.
first two movies because they acknowledge the different things that have gone on. And obviously, you had Michael Goff, I think is his name, as Alfred in this movie, and of course the subsequent Batman and Robin. So it's
Right.
all connected, of course. So yeah, they're looking for a lighter tone. They're looking to have like this action adventure type of thing going on. And what better way to do it than like to kind of like give a refresh and stuff like that. Like originally Keaton was thinking of doing it, but he's like, yeah, I'm out of it because it's not Tim. It's not kind of a story that fits for the tone and everything. But then in his place, we got Val Kilmer. Again, peak 90s. Like you remember him from like Top Gun, Tombstone, freaking a whole bunch of other movies that he was in. Peak freaking Val Kilmer coming in as Batman, which I don't think is a bad. I don't think we've ever had a bad actor as Batman. There was always potential for a knock out of the park performance to varying degrees, obviously. Like, for example, George Clooney, Oscar winner, great actor, somehow stuck in a Batman movie where he really wasn't able to showcase his Batman and Bruce Wayne ness to a certain
I
degree.
thought he was a good Bruce Wayne. I just felt
Yeah,
like Clooney just, I think it was maybe either too big of a star
yeah,
or I don't know. He just didn't fit to me. He just didn't fit the the suit in a sense. He didn't
yeah.
fit Batman. But
True.
when it came to being Bruce, I think he fits that playboy, you
Mm-hmm.
know, billionaire or millionaire, business owner kind of guy. I think
Yeah, yeah,
outside of the suit, I think Clooney's great, but um, I think Val Kilmer just to me, and again, I know a lot of people will
yeah,
probably say, probably disagree with this, but like, and obviously this is the Batman that we grew up with in a sense.
yeah.
Like I felt Val Kilmer, he fit Bruce and
Mm-hmm.
also to be fit Batman, in my opinion.
I think so. I think I gotta agree with you there because when he was Batman, he was like very understated and very like, But when he was like Bruce, he was kind of a little bit higher in the register. He was like, Doctor, let me
Yeah,
ask you, do you enjoy the circus, or I gotta get you out of those clothes and into a black dress? Do you like the circus? Like he was smooth operator, but then as Batman, he was just like, ready to throw down.
yeah, and
So
it felt to me
definitely,
too, like he felt like he was like an intellectual, like he was really like an intellectual. He was a businessman.
yeah,
I love the fact that like, which was kind of cool, which I forgot about, was that like he actually had access to get to the Batcave from
right in his
where
office.
now, which is actually pretty cool. So I don't know,
Yes,
like yeah, I was like
yeah.
man, a lot of other Batmans don't have that. So
And that's the confusing thing. How the hell did no one squeal on the man? Because someone had to get in there and contract the whole cave, and had to build out all that gear, had to make sure all the platforms and everything was delivered and freaking put in, and then he had to make a cave like a tunnel essentially for miles and miles and miles. Someone has the blueprints to that shit, and someone could have said some shit.
I mean,
Otherwise, you
they could
know,
be a they could be a Lucius in the background that we don't know about. Maybe that
it
could be it.
could be, or it could have been that guy that tried to blackmail him in that Dark Knight, and he actually paid him off and gave him an island or whatever as compensation for his silence,
Maybe,
essentially. Or maybe he
maybe
just snapped his neck, because he was, no one knows my secret. Now you know it. Now I must kill you. No. But no, so like Val Kilmer, definitely an inspired choice. But then you get into the next bunch of characters. And the thing is like whenever there's a new entry, I always love it when they do characters that they've never done on screen before. So
yeah,
listen, when you got Two-Face coming through and you got Riddler coming through, those were already kind of great ideas, and Robin, of course. But the thing is it's so funny because these three characters were originally going to be different people. Like Tommy Lee Jones, this is the obvious one. In Batman 1, you had Harvey Dent played by Billy D. Williams. Why he didn't come back, I'm sure because they wanted to do a whole new thing. Loosely connected, soft reboot is what the kids say nowadays and how we figure it. So, Tommy Lee Jones, again, very well known actor, great dramatic actor, has done some awesome stuff comedic wise, playing the straight man to Will Smith's, Agent J and the MIB series and all these different things that he's popped up. But he was chosen as Two Face. And the thing is like, and we'll speak on this a little bit more. The performance we expected, there was so much potential for it, but the performance we got was definitely not what we thought we would have had having like a mid 90s Tommy Lee Jones. I'll just say that. And then next to that was Jim Carrey as the Riddler.
yeah,
Originally, there was talks about Robin Williams being the Riddler when there was kind of like these story ideas floating around for like the past Batman and stuff like that. As great of an actor as Robin Williams was, I think it would have been an interesting and different tonal film if he did become the Riddler for sure. And
yeah.
it just but at least for this movie, I think that with the terms of the performance, without getting into details, Jim was the right man at the right time. It was peak Jim Carrey again. This is a stacked cast as far as I'm concerned.
Exactly. Yeah,
You know,
it's a stack cast. You have a lot of it, like at the time, a lot of A-list, at least A-list, B-list a actors, I think.
yeah.
I mean,
Even
even
Chris O'Donnell was A list too. Like he was in
yeah,
like
Chris
Scent of a
O'Donnell.
Woman and stuff.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly. And then on top of that too, like even was it
Nicole Kidman.
Nicole Kidman? Obviously, that was a big one. And then you have even Drew Barrymore, which I forgot about. I
That's
forgot
true. She was
she
in
was
here for a hot minute.
she was Two Faces, like
Good
henchman,
half.
I
You
guess.
know, was it Angel or I don't know. I can't remember. But yeah, she's the one on
Yeah,
the good side
good
of
side. Yeah.
yeah. Which I thought like I don't know why, but in my mind I'm like, wouldn't the good side want a bad girl and wouldn't the bad guy want a good girl? Like wouldn't it shouldn't it be reversed? Like I don't know. Maybe that's like
Well, you got like Two Face. Everything was two, so it's like
I
a
know, I know.
Iron Ice type of thing. So,
I know,
um,
I know. Yeah, true, true.
but yeah, the cast was stacked. You have a lot of A-list actors. I mean, I kind of want to know like what the budget was for this because how
Right.
could they like afford like all these people, especially like in a movie like this? And
Yeah.
I want to know too. I got to take a look to see how much did it make?
Right. I want
It
to say
seems
that it
like
was
it
a
was a
box office
huge,
success because they
yeah,
went full steam ahead with Batman and Robin. Like they wasted no time getting that off the ground.
right.
But then again, it could have just been because of the merchandise and the figures and all that stuff. And before I forget too, and again we talked about this, but like Chris O'Donnell, it's funny because in originally they were going to introduce Robin in Batman Returns, and they casted Marlon Wayans and
Mhm.
stuff. And they actually to this day he still gets residuals from the what he when he should have been in the film and everything, I guess, as Rob and
Yeah,
everything. But I guess that fell through, and obviously, again, they wanted to do kind of like this newer version of the universe. So they got Chris O'Donnell as Robin, and I think he works as Robin. I mean, again, the way
yeah.
the cast was, and at the time, I think these are your players right here. They work perfectly fine, in my opinion.
Really quick though, looking at IMDb, which is trivia, which I had no idea about, was that um Leo DiCaprio was actually offered the part to be Robin, but
Oh
he
no
just
shit.
didn't like the fact that he didn't like the direction that Schumacher was kind of going. So Michael Keaton also he was gonna come back, but he also did not like the direction that Schumacher was going, so he turned it down.
Mhm.
And the role went to Val Kilmer, which Val Kilmer supposedly was in a bat cave, and
And
ended up,
that's when he got the news.
that's when he got the news. So
Oh
he
man,
got the job. And
that's
then also
crazy.
take a look at the budget of the movie. The budget of the movie was $100 million.
Wow.
Domestic opening, they made 52, let's say rounded up to 53 million
Mhm.
domestically. Um, and let's see, worldwide it made 184 million. Number two, let's see. Yeah, so and then basically it grows close to like 336 million dollars altogether. So
I'd
they
say
got their
that's a
money back.
success.
But
Oh yeah,
yeah,
they got their
except for
money and
thinking Batman and Robin was greenlit.
oh absolutely, absolutely. It
Yeah.
was probably like as soon as they saw like the pre-sales on something for tickets, I'm sure if there was pre-sale ways of tracking it back in the day. But yeah, that thing got like wildfire. And the thing is too is like when there's changing of the guard, you kind of want to see just because you want to see if it fails or succeeds anyway. So there was already that hype too. So,
Yep.
but yeah, I mean, yeah, this was a this. I'm not going to say it was a juggernaut because again, we haven't looked at the bigger scope of the other movies that were around that year. But yeah, Batman was still in its heyday at that point, and there wasn't a sign of slowing down at that point, especially when you're getting all these A-listers. Because I mean, you look at the last film, Batman Returns did have a couple, like a few A-listers, but there wasn't like a pop culture like A-list type of thing going. Like I feel like you look at this cast, like it's pop culture like written all over it, people from different things. Last one and one before that, you got these cult actors that kind of work together and work well and kind of are in commingled in kind of the same circles, so to speak.
Right.
But these are like such like a diverse cast of like people with like a whole bunch of different expertise, comedy, action, all that other stuff.
Yeah, it's like
Um,
it's
yeah,
basically like a Hollywood. Let's say it feels like it's like Hollywood. It has like
yeah,
Hollywood's imprint or just fingers all in the
oh,
movie.
totally.
I mean, as a kid too, just like obviously like seeing Nicole Kidman and seeing her again, it's like, oh wow, like she was like,
Oh yeah.
she was a 10. She was a 10, and
Whew.
I'm like,
Oh, she was
and then
yeah,
obviously
10 and a
having like
half, son.
and having like Val Kilmer on screen with her, it's like, oh wow, like this is,
Oh yeah.
you
It's
know, It's Hollywood
Total, yeah.
making, and it kind of felt to me like a little like obviously they're a little love story in the movie. It felt like a little like L.A. Noirish kind of.
The bat signal is not a beeper.
Well, I wish I could say that my interest in you was purely professional.
You're trying to get under my cape, Doctor?
A girl can't live by psychoses alone.
You get the older Val Kilmer, and more mature Val Kilmer, and then you've got like the teen heartthrob, freaking Chris O'Donnell raking in the chicks to the box office too. I'm sure. So for all you people out there trying to say, "Oh, that's sexist," think twice, pal. Okay, because it worked both ways, and they got it in spades because everyone was coming to see this for some eye candy. Just saying. From the onset of this, even the vibe is different. It's opening up with a completely different theme. It's okay in its own right. I still prefer the Batman March, from Danny Elfman personally, but
Hmm.
this one is like, dun, 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 dun. Like it's not bad. It's kind of hypes you up a little bit, and
Yeah.
it's got its little like high points and stuff. But and then they got the neon lit Batmobile now that kind of looks like it's the body of an alien, like a H.R. Geiger kind of thing going on. And
Right.
then even in the city, you've got all these massive statues, like almost like Greek gods, in these like
Mhm.
buildings and everything. And just like again, the aesthetic is like so neon and like
Yeah.
these weird like kind of floodlights designs and all this other stuff, and like these chases with through a lot of like wet streets of Gotham and stuff like that. There's like
Mhm.
levels to Gotham. It's like holy shit,
Yeah.
there's like 20 different levels. There's like a bridge between these two buildings, and there's a overpass here, and it's a little weird though, to be honest.
Yeah, I think they also they mentioned it too was in the behind the scenes of making the movie, like a lot of the sets, everything was just like all like practical sets.
Mm-hmm.
Like even to the beginning of the movie where they have like that kind of like that not bank heist, but kind of like a heist in a sense with that
Mm-hmm.
that guard, and then trapping Batman in that safe to try to
Yep.
kill him with the acid.
Yep.
Just like that whole entire scene, everything was obviously not,
It was
super
like
practical, but it
miniatures
was
and
really,
stuff like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
and just like seeing that like was kind of like, obviously, everything's 3D nowadays, and
Mm-hmm.
but for a Batman movie in the 90s, it's kind of cool kind of see kind of seeing that because again, we're growing up off of Batman the animated series, and
Mm-hmm.
just having that like landscape and those high
Yep.
buildings, it just again those parallels all kind of fit in a sense,
Yep.
and that's what we see as Batman. So, you know,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that that's a good point too, because, the animated series started in like 92 or whatever, kind of shortly after, Batman Returns came out and everything. And it kind of gave a good like idea of how big Gotham is and stuff. And we didn't quite see that scale per se. Like we were
yeah.
kind of in sandboxes in the first two movies, but this one, you were like, you're getting along on the helicopter ride. You're going through all these things when he's going on patrol, so you're not just like having these small narrow places or these random places in like a dark alley or like underneath like the zoo or whatever it is. You're seeing like the city, and even more so in the next entry after that. But
Mhm.
yeah, the atmosphere was totally different, and again with the different fighting, with the different kind of like tongue-in-cheek comedy. Like, Nicole Kidman was going hardcore for Batman for like 2 seconds. She's like, black rubber. Like she's talking about, oh, back then it was men, guys with piercings and tattoos or whatever she says. Then
Yeah.
this was the flavor, and then it was like black rubber, and it's like this bitch really just turned on the bat signal just to get this man over here so she could flirt with him.
Yeah,
That's
which
a
is like
bold
crazy to
move.
me. That's crazy. I'm like, that's someone like who's like super crazy, like to the
Uh,
point where like if I was Batman, I'm like, hey man, I mean, obviously she's hot, but it's like,
yeah, she's a
you know,
psychiatrist and she's got mental issues. She's stalking right now.
yeah,
So
exactly. Like it's like someone calling 911 just to call, a certain police officer to come over. And it's like, well, not you. Can you get the other one? It's
hey,
like,
hey,
well,
we're
it's an
trying
emergency.
to get PG. We don't want to go too much down the road of that type of stuff right here, right? I
Yeah,
I
no, we
pick
don't
up
do
what you're
that.
putting. I'm picking up what you're putting down there, sir. But no, it's yeah, that was a bold move, and then all of a sudden, in the middle of it, of course, Jim Gordon's gonna come in and ruin everything. I saw the signal. What's going on?
Yeah,
Nothing,
yeah.
nothing.
I didn't care for Gordon though, to be honest. He was awful.
This whole series, they did Jim Gordon dirty.
Yeah,
Gary Oldman
they
had to
did him
come in after
disservice.
this. Yeah,
Yeah,
they did it. They didn't.
Gary Oldman is the Jim Gordon that I like.
He's the Uber Gordon. He's the
Yeah.
definitely the Uber Gordon. Next, I mean, again, the music, the score, definitely not Danny Elfman, but we're talking like for the example, the soundtrack. You had like U2, you had Method Man, you had a whole bunch of different people. Oh yeah, and you had Seal with like his literal biggest hit ever. And he credits this because of the Batman Forever movie, because I guess the inside scoop was is that he had released this track, Kiss from a
Yep.
Rose, for those of you who don't know. Um, a couple years before or a year before, bombed, did not make the Billboard Top 100. Then they redo a new music video with it after Joel Schumacher's like, Seal, we have to have this music, we have to have this song in the soundtrack. He's like, okay. Skyrockets, man, tops the charts and has got new life and is again his all-time like downloaded song, like forever iconic because of its ties to not only Batman, but I mean, even if like putting it in a vacuum without Batman Forever, I still like the song. The song is still like peak, R&B for like 90s,
I
man.
think when I hear the song, I think of Batman Forever. I mean,
Yeah.
it goes hand in hand, and it's kind of like if you think about it too, because I'm again I'm trying to go back, being a kid in the '90s, and
Yep.
I remember a summer where I think Titanic came out,
Yep.
and you have the song, My Heart Will Go On with Celine
Yep.
Dion. And I know like I have like a lot of female cousins, and I know my cousin's wife was like talking about it and saying, "Oh, I went to go see it like 3 or 6 times,
Oh God, yeah.
song and just the movie." But like I think back then too, you needed um
Hook.
you needed a song or a hook or something like that to coincide with the movie,
Mm-hmm.
because like to sell the movie, you need a great song. To sell the song, you need a great movie, and it's like hand in
True.
hand where you have obviously Kiss from a Rose, like. I
Oh man.
remember even too. I remember just having I could swear I have the VHS, but like
Yep.
once the movie ended, Christopher Rose comes on. It's like,
Yep.
all right, well I got to go back and now I got to press rewind, play it again because
Yes.
like I was like this song is
Yep.
awesome. Like it just
Yep.
fits. It just fits the movie.
It does.
Um, and well, I'm not gonna bring up that one song. I actually like it a lot though. Um, even too, I think the 1997 Godzilla movie had a great
Oh,
soundtrack.
the Puffy song with the
Yeah, come with
oh
me.
yep.
I don't bring up Diddy, but it's actually a really good song.
That
I actually like that song.
you can't touch the song now. The artist, that's a different story
Yeah,
there, people. That's
yeah,
all we're gonna say about that. You can I'm
yeah.
sure
But just
everyone
like
watching this is like aware.
even too, like even if you think about it too, like you think
Yep.
about Spider-Man, the first Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire. That's
Hero
about it
with
too. Hero.
Nickelback and
That's
Josie
awesome, dude.
Scott. Yep.
After that, it
Yep.
kind of fell off. I mean, I think all the music
Yeah.
kind of fell off after that. Even though, but like Hero was like one of the songs that like you hear that song, it's like, okay, I think of Spider-Man, you
Oh,
know.
absolutely.
And for Kiss from a
100%.
Rose, just I think of Batman Forever every single time. It just fits. It just fits.
100%, man. 100%. So the movie comes out. There's a whole bunch of hype. It's a success. People enjoy it for the most part. We get kind of varying performances. Again, I think like the thing about Tommy Lee Jones was like he was doing a bad Joker impression. Like Joel Schumacher or whoever it was, you gotta come and get your man over here and tell him to stop acting like Jack Nicholson on freaking cocaine or whatever it is over here. Okay, you
Yeah.
gotta like if Tommy Lee Jones had given us a serious Tommy Lee Jones performance, like as a very tortured like guy and
Hmm.
not this whole thing. But then where does it end? You got to throw out the chicks that he has for his good and bad side. You got to throw out the campiness. You got to throw out these instances. You got to throw out him doing the murder, the massacre on the big top, and how animated he is with that and stuff like that. So if you take that out, you take out a good chunk of some of the more interesting parts of the movie, and that's kind of I think you can't really have one without the other. You got to have that campy performance to
Yeah.
get to these other things. I mean, because like as campy as it was, again, him killing the Grayson family, big moment right there. And definitely after when the aftermath happens, it kind of does tonally become a serious moment because Bruce tried to save them. He tried to yell over the crowd, "I'm Batman." Didn't work out. He tried to beat some people up. He tried to do this and that, and ultimately the bomb
Mhm.
was that was being raised was disarmed was not disarmed, but it was unlatched, and Dick threw it into the ocean.
Yeah.
From there, the way that he interacts with Bruce and stuff like that, again, kind of starting to kind of build that kind of
Rapport.
bond and stuff like that,
Yeah.
that rapport, and then kind of coming in and saving him from that sand freaking thing and everything like that. Again, it's all intertwined. You can't really do anything about it. Um,
Right.
Definitely a little bit of a weird choice as far as the scheme to like use TV boxes to kind of become smarter. But again, at the same time, I guess pretty original and pretty genius. I'm not gonna lie, having those things with the it looked like popcorn. I always thought that that was like a popcorn bucket or something when
Popcorn
I was
thing.
little.
Yeah, it's like
Right?
popcorn with
Like
something to like blend, like a blender.
right,
That's what I thought.
exactly. That's what I thought like all those things had. And it's probably like if you go back and watch it on like the 4K, it's probably not even popcorn. It's probably like crystals and stuff. But it was like, I don't give a shit. I was little, man. I thought that was popcorn. And look at how many fucking popcorn buckets we get now. Best bet on just Schumacher cut, you need to get a fucking Ed box or whatever it is with popcorn for the popcorn buckets design. You need to have one of those things. If you're going to do a Schumacher cut across the nation, AMC better be having some of those things in there with the Riddler
You know if
boxes.
they're gonna do an actual like Schumacher like wide release, or I just know that they're gonna do
So
the one in LA. That's
yeah,
it. But
so that's the thing is my issue is like director's cuts are like a dime a dozen now, and like the only time that I really felt like a director's cut was really like I needed it was like the Snyder cut because the rumors were building on, and all of a sudden I was like, oh shit, he actually does have his own cut. He just needed to get it finished with effects and stuff. And when we got the payoff, it was so much better. Like
yeah,
again, runtime notwithstanding, so much better. I feel like you reserve that for movies that aren't successful and that have a different spin. I just feel like there's not what other aspect of this aside from a couple deleted scenes with which would be cool admittedly with the giant bat, him coming face to face with the giant bat in the cave,
yes, yeah.
maybe a couple alternate lines, but other than that it's not going to change Tommy Lee Jones's performance. It's still going to be wily and crazy. We're maybe going to get an extra scene where Bruce doesn't even remember who he is or that he was Batman because he got clipped in the head, remember.
Hmm.
I
Yep.
remember that deleted scene. Maybe the breaking out of Gotham at the beginning, but other than that, again, I don't personally know. And if they do, I don't think that they will do a wide release. And if they do, I'll be very surprised. But you know what's funny is Kevin Smith actually said that he had gotten a Schumacher cut and he played it unofficially, I think, for
Yeah.
people, and he didn't charge them for anything.
Yep.
You know, because you can't legally do that technically,
Hmm.
right? So that's the word on the street. I didn't know for sure. Don't hurt me, Kevin. Love you, man. But the thing is like, so as far as that goes, I don't know that I'm totally on board with the Schumacher cut because, again, I feel like the film itself was good for the time, and it aging well or bad or whatever it is. It's the movie that was successful, and you don't really need to. It's kind of like again what George Lucas did with all the Star Wars cuts. These were like groundbreaking milestones, and then all of a sudden you go back and you add like 20 minutes of like useless bullshit, or you add like a special effect here and then that kind of is like out of place, and you can kind of tell it's out of place, you know. So I don't
Yeah.
know.
So
um
I'm reading right now. It says Schumacher cut isn't just a longer version of Batman Forever. It's practically a different film.
mm,
Gone are many of the neon-drenched excesses and cartoonish tonal swings that defied the 1995 theatrical release.
really?
In their place, we get a version of Bruce Wayne that's burdened, haunted, and grappling with his dual identity in many ways, more reminiscent of Tim Burton's gothic take of the studio-friendly
Hmm.
direction Schumacher pushed this kind of like narrative, but uh they changed it, I guess, and I guess they wanted
Really?
so I mean this is what this article is saying, but
Really?
obviously I've seen some of like the the directors, not the director's cuts, but like the cut scenes like the giant bat and stuff like that.
Yep.
But from I think you
Huh.
said to like Kevin Smith, he aired it, and I think he said it was like 100%, like I want to say like maybe 100% or 180% like different movie than what
Oh.
we got. And I
Huh.
feel like if anything, they should go out and like at least if they can't do a wide release, or I mean, if anything, it would make sense to do like a wide release so they can get some money back for the cut. I mean, if you can do this, if you can do the Snyder cut, you can do the Schumacher cut
I
and
think
at least release it.
yeah.
And then
And
if
then
anything, like
yeah.
Val Kilmer just passed away. It's like
True.
you
True.
know, I always do that for him or somebody,
So
just to get a version of what they wanted to be.
hearing you say that, I have to say this: director's cuts, especially for Warner Brothers, Warner Brothers has had terrible track record of giving directors their dues. So they're like coming out with director's cuts left and right, especially with the Richard Donner cut of Superman 2, or
Yep.
like again the Zack Snyder cut. I'm still waiting on Suicide Squad, the David Ayer cut, because that I think would have been a totally different movie too.
Mm.
But now that you said that about the Schumacher cut, well, that tells me that there's definitely more deleted scenes that was on the floor. And then you're telling me that leads me to believe that this movie had like a bunch of reshoots, and that's probably why the budget was high. Because 100 million for the '90s sounds extremely high, but
Very
they made
specific.
it back. Like 150 million for like a Captain America movie or whatever. That sounds standard nowadays in 2025 or whatever. But back then, 100 million for a goddamn superhero movie that's like a niche thing technically or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely a higher end for and good thing that they got their money back. But you know, for inflation, I mean, shit, what is that, like 500 million now for a budget?
It could be. Who
I
knows?
mean, I'm not good at mathing, don't quote me, but if you all know, please let
Say
us know in
three
the
to five,
comments.
3 5, if anything, just to be safe.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So as far as this goes, I think again the story, the way that it was handled, some of the themes and messages inside of it, I think again were pretty original. The duality, like can he be both Bruce Wayne and Batman?
Mhm.
The revenge that Robin wants, is that going to get him what he wants out of life? And all these kind of different things that kind of come through. I thought that again it added up to a pretty smart, fun pop culture movie, and again, it worked for the time. And even rewatching it, I mean, it took me 4 sittings to get through it because I was watching it on HBO Max, and I was just, I just couldn't. Like sometimes I was just like, oh,
Yeah.
I can't do this. I got to pause it, walk away, do something for like half an hour, and then come back or whatever and watch it. But
Yeah.
it's not terrible. And the suits, I love the Panther suit, which is the first suit he has, and it's
Yeah.
still got the yellow emblem. But
Yeah.
when they get to the sonar suit and stuff, I'm just like, yeah, we might be getting a little overboard here. But it's you
I
think,
actually have,
you know,
from what I remember as a kid, I remember I actually had the sonar suit
yep,
where I think it was kind of like a metallic blue.
yeah, right.
You
Because
remember
it
that?
it didn't show up that well when we watched it when we were little. I think it would look like I thought it was black or blue, like a dark
I thought it
color,
was like
but
silverish,
the
you know?
but yeah, it's actually silverish. Like I looked at the hot toy, I'm like, wait a minute, I don't remember that being the color. And then I look at like the HD 4K of the movie, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's kind of how it was. But when you're watching the VHS, the contrast is different depending on how your
Yeah.
TV was. Like, plus, I mean, I get a little bit of a color deficiency. I'm not totally colorblind, but some colors kind of blend in shades and stuff like that. But
Mm.
no, it's like that one right there, that one figure was definitely popular. The Robin that was popular was the one that if you put water on it, his mask would like disappear and then it would
Right.
come back after it was dry or some shit.
Yep.
um I thought it was funny how the Graysons original costumes was kind of the brightly colored Robin costume, and then Alfred actually made him a costume after he did all these things. But
Yeah.
so it definitely had a lot going for it. Now, as far as the ridiculousness, we touched upon again Tommy Lee's performance, but like, what was up with that one fucking scene where he was doing his laundry and just like beating the shit out of everything and putting it on a clothesline? Did we need that? I don't think we
No,
needed that.
that was a waste of time. I don't know why they added that in.
And I thought it was a little excessive how he was upstairs and then he jumped down and slid on everything. And I tried counting down, and I don't feel like that secret door was going to be open that long. Like he
Right.
just barely made it and he slipped through and he like fell over. And then of course you get the intruder system, intruder
Yeah.
alert. I'm like, oh no shit, pal, you didn't do your job or whatever. Like I would think that Bruce would have like a higher end security system or whatever, or that
Right.
Alfred would have enough common sense to be like, why did he
Mm.
check that Dick was upstairs instead of just going through the goddamn door? If he just went through the door, Dick wouldn't have even known. Like,
Exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And then the motherfucker takes the car. What
Yeah.
what car? The Ferrari? No, the other car.
No, sir. The other
Yeah, and then it was funny when he was cruising through with the Batmobile. I'm like, oh, Batman! Like, oh, you ain't Batman, you Bat Boy, and shit. I'm like, oh my god, this is awesome! Like, this is so funny. And then
Yeah.
he rides up and he goes into the alley and tries to save the girl. Oh, I thought Batman always kissed the girls, and then it's like that one little like heartthrob shot where he kisses, and then the fire and all the lights turn up really quick, and then she runs off, and then Don the Dragon Wilson is the little skull faced leader or whatever for all you deep
Yep.
cut martial arts people, straight to VHS martial art film fanatics out there. You know who Don the Dragon Wilson is. I don't need to tell you, and I'll leave it at that. But then Batman comes and saves his ass, just kind of flying down. And I thought that this was actually kind of a little bit of a powerful scene. Is like he's trying to beat him or like hit him and stuff. It's like you let them die, you let them die, you know. And he's like,
Mhm.
if Bruce Wayne could have saved your family, he would have. Like it's like, dude,
Yeah,
you don't know everything. You know, stop.
exactly.
Like you don't know everything, man. And then he's trying to tell him like, all I want to do is kill Harvey. That's not going to help your pain. You know, he's trying to tell him like, you know, and then it's another one. It's another Two Face. It's another this and that. So again, pop culture movie got some really good facts in there. Got some really good messages in there. Growing up, again, in my weird mind, the third, fourth, whatever entries had to be better because they're the next entry. Like I don't know why I thought like, oh, Batman 2 is better than Batman 1 because it's Batman 2. Like I don't know what sense that makes, but obviously the truth is different. It's more subjective depending on what you're doing. But as
Right.
far as this goes, I remember I used to watch this one a lot. This is probably the one that I wore out the most as far as rewatching.
I
Just
think I think so
yeah,
too. 'Cause I mean, I think it was either it's definitely this one because I think obviously I was older. I mean, we were like what
yep,
5 or 6 around that time.
yep.
Um, Probably have it on VHS, but I would say this, and then obviously Batman Returns were the two that I watched, like back to back, or if I
Yeah.
went to the Batman movie.
Yep.
Again, Batman one or Batman
Yep.
with Michael Keaton, the first one, like I barely. Obviously now that's not the case, but like probably back then I would barely I
Yeah.
couldn't tell you what happened in that movie because I never remembered it. I think
It
I went
was
back and watched it once Heath Ledger got announced as Joker, and it's like,
yeah.
oh, you've seen a Joker before. I was like, well, I don't remember another Joker. They said, oh,
Yeah.
Jack
Yep.
Nicholson. I was like, oh, wow, let me go
Yep.
back and watch it. I was like, oh, I don't remember this at all.
That's the thing too is like when you're in the state of mind that we're at when we're like 5 and 6, you want something that you can digest a little bit easier. Batman and Batman Forever was something that is absolutely, and Batman and Robin is something that you could just watch, not really think too much on. Batman One, it's like a crime movie and stuff like that. You got to be invested, and you got Jack Nicholson putting in a good performance as the Joker and everything, and Michael Keaton as a kind of a brooding, tortured performance. And Batman Returns, it did amp up a little bit of the jokiness and the quirkiness. So I mean, in that respect, yeah, as a kid, you could probably watch that one. It's a little bit more accessible. It'll scare you shitless and give you some freaking nightmares when you're talking about these clowns and shit kidnapping babies, you know. But like, yeah, to your point, it's like you don't really kind of get that or grasp that, and it's like all the cool lights and all the awesome effects and all this and that, and how just
Yeah,
cool Batman is in this movie and what he does, like for quick moments, even when he's brawling with those Two Face goons and the freaking, you know, whether it's because of the blah, 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 you know, like when they
yeah,
bump into each other with the shocking thing. Like again, it's like the it's the audio, it's the visuals, it's all that stuff that kind of makes an impression on you, and it's you're going to gravitate to whatever kind of makes or stimulates you like mentally and all that stuff, and even visually and stuff like that, you know. um so I think that Batman Forever was probably the one that we watched the most. That being said, watching it all these years later, um I don't think I can completely sanction this movie's buffoonery. And if you all know what I'm talking about, that's the line that Tommy Lee Jones said to Jim Carrey because he hated him. And one time when they were filming, like during the time that they were filming this movie, I guess he saw him in a restaurant. And according to Jim, all the blood rushed out of his face. He grabbed him and said, I cannot sanction your buffoonery. Like basically, fuck off, guy. I don't like you.
yeah.
um, but that being said, it's not my favorite Batman. I would say it's on the level of Batman and Robin. Batman and Robin is a little bit worse because you got two really,
Oh my
really
God.
like campy villains. Arnold, I mean,
Chill out.
yeah, all the ice puns, and then you got
Yeah.
Mother Nature, bitch. You know, again, this is before Uma Thurman really blew up, like even more
Well, the
so.
funny thing is, I was reading in IMDb was that Schumacher offered um, Nicole Kidman the role of um,
Dr. Chase
Poison-
Meridian.
yeah, of no,
Oh no.
yeah, oh, Poison Ivy. She was gonna be Poison Ivy,
Mm.
but then he's like, oh, I'll save it for Uma Thurman instead.
Oh, get out of here! Wow.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think I probably would have preferred Nicole Kidman just a tiny bit more. I don't know. You know?
No, Uma was kind of hot in that too. I mean, she did a good
Yeah.
job. I think I think just like from her being like that, goofy, just like same thing, which is kind of funny though. It's kind of like
Yeah.
same thing with like Jim Carrey's character where he's, Edward Nygma and he's kind of like a nerd and everything
It's
like
gonna be
that.
the green. It's gonna be the green characters. That's what it is.
Yeah,
I think.
they kind of glow it up a little bit after that. So I mean,
Uh,
whatever.
true.
She did a good job, but
True.
I think I
Yeah.
don't know. Nicole Kidman could have done a good job too as well, but I
I
feel
think
like
so.
her being Chase Murray, I think that was I was fine with that
So
because you knew that
solid,
like
solid performance.
yeah.
It's enjoyable. Um, Not a lot of rewatchability, especially with all the other stuff that we've gotten, especially like Batman Begins, which is still like to me the Uber Batman movie. Like the origin, they adapted very well, and they had like so much Batman material, and he was the center of the movie. In
Yeah.
which is like we don't have a Batman movie where he's literally the center of the movie. He's always like second fiddle to whatever else is going on in the movie. Like even the Dark
Kind
Knight,
of.
he's like
Yeah.
you know,
I was gonna say they kind of got away with that. I mean, they kind of not got away with, but they kind of got caught up with that with the Dark Knight.
yeah,
And I wouldn't say I think they kind of reverted back a little bit in the Dark Knight Rises a little bit. Uh,
mm-hmm.
but Dark Knight was like all focused on, Harvey Dent,
Yeah,
obviously the Joker, and it wasn't really like Batman, Bruce Wayne's movie. It was more about
yeah,
those. It was mostly about the villains. And I
yep.
think the thing about Batman Begins is all about who, again, it's centered on Bruce Wayne.
Yep. Yep.
And I think that was like one of the biggest things that like lured me into like saying like, oh wow, like this is actually like a really, really good movie. And
Yep.
I think I don't know if I saw it in theaters, but I think I rented it at the time at like, kids probably don't know about this, but you can go out and rent movies. I think it was at
Those.
Hollywood Video. I think it was at Hollywood
Yep.
Video.
Yep.
I saw it. I was like, oh wow, this is like really good. Like I know they
Yeah.
mentioned the Batman, but I didn't watch it in theaters, so I just rented
Yeah.
it over the summer.
Well, I tell you,
And
man, you missed out because seeing it in the theaters was amazing, and it just blew my mind when I saw it. Like, first of all, it blew my mind seeing the trailer, and then I don't know why, like 2 seconds in, before anyone even says something about Bruce Wayne or whatever, like the bats come across the screen, and I'm like thinking, like, is that an optical illusion because it looked like a bat symbol, right? And then
Mhm.
all of a sudden, like uh, the world is too big for someone like you to disappear, or too small for someone like you to disappear, Mr. Wayne. And I'm like, oh shit. And then it's showing all the flashes and the clips of him in the bat suit. And I'm like, oh man, that's awesome. And then
Right.
sure enough, Batman Begins was like fantastic. Christopher Nolan brought legitimacy and style back to superheroes in general, in my opinion. And then,
Yeah,
of course,
he
around that
made,
time,
yeah.
Superman 2, and all these other things. And then it's not Superman 2, Spider-Man 2, and then the Dark Knight would come out, and then so would Iron Man, and just this whole big thing again. We would get a resurgence of seriousness, kind of akin to when we had the first Batman movie from Tim Burton, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah.
Um, I would say that I would rate this movie as it stands probably 2.5 out of 5. I'd still watch it. I'd still enjoy it, but it's a two and a
Right.
half out of five for me personally. What do you think about Batman Forever 30 years later, sir?
30 years later, it's definitely cartoony,
Yep.
cheesy.
Yep.
But again, I felt like Val Kilmer was a good pick, and I think it was a good fit to fit Bruce Wayne. I like
Yep.
the fact, him being outside of the suit, he felt like he was an intellectual man. He was a very thoughtful man. Obviously, too, he was like, having like the Riddler with his riddles. I felt like
Yep.
Val Kilmer played the role. He did it just duty compared to going from like Michael Keaton to Val Kilmer. I felt like it's probably like a big like weight on his shoulders, but I
Yeah.
feel like he did a good job, and I think that um he fit the shoes that he needed to fit.
Yeah.
It didn't have to be Michael Keaton's shoes. In a
Sure.
sense, he fit the shoes of Batman and Bruce Wayne, in my opinion. Obviously, we had a little bit of issues with Tommy Lee Jones kind of like being like overacting. Um, and obviously, I love Jim Carrey. Obviously, he brought the cartoonish elements
Yep.
in the movie too as well, but I felt like
Yep.
he was a good villain. And again, even to Chris O'Donnell being Robin, you know seeing this as a kid, I mean I'm like I don't want to say I wanted to be Robin, but I thought like this is like, he's a cool character out like yeah,
Yep.
like and Overall, if I were to rate it, I think 2.5 is probably where it could be. It's not a bad movie. It's not terrible. It's just aged. It's aged. That's all. And
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that,
True. Yeah, exactly. It
you
doesn't
know.
need to be Oscar worthy. It knows. I mean, we know what it's supposed to be,
You know
and
what
it
it
was
is. Yeah.
what it's supposed to be. Back then, it was like 3.5 stars out of five, but now it's like okay, 2.5, and that's good. Most movies kind of around that time, they kind of go really steep down to like
Yeah.
1 star or whatever. But this one, if you okay, so you're spoiled. You're one of the kids nowadays who's only known like Christian Bale and Ben Affleck, and you're getting all these awesome superhero adaptations.
You're not gonna like this movie.
Exactly. You're not going to like this movie, but for some reason, if you're like us, you're kind of crazy. You like everything about these characters, and you get so invested in them, and you want more of something, no matter how good or bad it is, how old, new, whatever it is of these characters. You're going to go through the animated series. You're going to go through Batman Returns, Batman Forever, Batman and Robin. And when I said Batman, I meant Batman 1, and then Returns, meaning Batman Returns and stuff, just to clarify. But you're going to go and find every bit of media. I think the only thing that I've never watched is the old school serials, just because I don't think I want to go down that road.
I'm not going back.
I've heard some very bad things about how certain portrayals and certain antiquated ideologies pop up in those movie
Yeah.
serials back then. So I'm just like, yeah, I don't need to do that. I don't need to go down that road. But if you're a Batman fanatic, if you're doing a marathon on Batman Day, whichever day that is in May, because it's in May, I think. If you're doing like a marathon, you're gonna start at like 6, 7 in the morning, and you want to watch stuff that as they came out from the old school, like the '66 Batman movie, all the way to like Batman the movie, Batman Returns, Batman Forever, Batman and Robin, and then all the Nolans and stuff. Then you'll watch it, and I definitely say like if you're a Batman fanatic, you should watch this movie if you haven't already. But chances are you have seen it, or if you just want to see about who can overact the other, Tommy Lee Jones or Jim Carrey, the ending of the movie might kill you though.
Summer. I love that part though. I love that.
Right, and then he still hits the buttons. I'm like, damn, you
Yeah.
know that was a weird pick for that costume of his at the end too. It's like, you
Yeah.
know,
It was, I mean, again, I think what they did was like they kind of like up the ante with like, okay, now everybody
yep,
gets different suits.
yep, true.
And
Well,
I
shit, the
think
Riddler
now,
had like 10 suits in the matter of like what, not even an hour. He had his first one with the top hat. He had this
yeah,
that onesie with the green and the black check marks. He had the jacket that keeps him
jacket,
protected
yep,
when he jogs at night.
yeah,
And then he had that glittery one with the
delivery
now
one, yeah,
that cane was inventive because that was a question mark but it had a skull in it with that
yeah, that
button.
was
I
actually
thought that
pretty
was
cool.
pretty interesting. That
Yeah,
was kind of like a little demented. So that I give kudos for.
yeah,
And it's kind of funny. Like at first, Riddler and Two Face are kind of like this. They're like on the same level, and then all of a sudden, you kind of feel like Riddler kind of became the
Like,
mastermind out of everything, right?
yeah,
That's
yeah,
something that we didn't talk about too much, but I thought that was a really unique thing, and it makes sense because he was brain draining everybody, right? To the point
yep.
where he's even dressing and looking and making his haircut just like Bruce, and even putting on a fake mole like on the side of his face too. He's like
Yep.
asking Drew Barrymore, "How's my mole?" and shit, you
Yeah, I think
know?
that's when Jim Carrey kind of takes over, especially too. Like I was gonna say, like when they destroyed the Batcave. I don't think we mentioned that a little bit,
Yeah.
but like Jim Carrey is all like
Oh,
that.
he's hamming it up.
He's
It's
basically
awesome.
yeah, he's hamming it up. He's being Jim Carrey. He's doing his things. Like I love the fact that like when he takes like the Riddler, grenades or whatever, and just like throws them, and then you get that. Yeah, exactly. Like he does all that stuff. And I think that was like I think that was like awesome, an awesome part of the movie. Like they're like, hey Jim,
Yep.
free go riff it, do
Go
whatever you
wild.
want to do.
You know what's funny about that too? Like the dude was so demented, but so smart too. Like he knew who Batman was in like 2 seconds after he
Yeah.
started his shit. Like,
Yep.
and then he was able to manipulate the footage where it looks like the guy jumped out the window. He
Yeah.
signed everything and like forged his stuff perfectly. Like, okay, this guy's like he's a little serious now. He's got
Even too
some
like even
serious
like
like.
yeah, it was even too like even his riddles. Like I mean, obviously I'm not saying like they're hard riddles or anything like that. I mean, I'm
No,
not
yeah,
like a 35-year-old man, but like
yeah,
just like the way he made them, like
yeah.
we'll see it was like kind of cool. Like you don't see I wouldn't say you don't see that nowadays, but I
Yeah.
think for that time, like they were really creative.
Yeah.
Um,
No,
and
absolutely. Like,
here's like the Riddler that we got in, the Batman. I mean, a little
yeah.
bit different.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But like I felt
But
like this was like at the time, it being in the 90s, us having like the old Riddler back from like the old,
mm,
TV television shows and the cartoons. I felt
yep.
like this is like the Riddler that well, that we got, and it wasn't bad. I think Jim Carrey
Yeah.
fit the role,
It,
perfectly.
it was the Riddler we deserved at the time, and it definitely
Yeah,
did it justice for the time and for the tone of the movie. And I got to say, one of the lines that I liked was when they raided it's Halloween, they're raiding and chasing everybody around in there, and then they knock Bruce out, and then Two Face is about to kill him, and he's like, "Don't kill him. If you do, he won't learn nothing."
yeah,
Like I don't know why, just like the way he delivered it, and it's like it's true. It's like you've been playing with him this whole time, and then you leave that last like riddle, and it's like the volleyball with his head going back and forth. I think,
mhm,
like, or not volleyball, the tennis thing, right?
mhm.
But like you said, all of his riddles, like, was if you scratch my head, what was once red is now black instead, or there's 12 numbers on my face, you won't find 13 any
That's
place or
yeah,
whatever. Like just looking at those riddles and even having like the pawns and kind of again the riddles for the time, and they didn't need to be overtly intellectual, but
yeah,
even for the audience to kind of follow along with them, it's like, hey, this is pretty good and fun too. I'm now realizing he had like thumb things in his sleeves
yeah. He
too, I
did.
think too,
Yeah, so
which
probably
is
like a
so
jogging
funny.
suit or something. I don't know.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, I mean, again, this movie's aged. It's like solid 2.5 out of 5 in our opinion. Doesn't knock the movie. It was great for the time, and it's good to rewatch if you're in a certain mood. You want to go ahead and rewatch it. You want to curl up with you know, your glass, your Riddler glass, or your Two Face Robin, or your Batman one. Obviously, I don't have the Robin ones, but
well,
just pour.
throwing in like Sunny Delight in the morning with a cup.
Yes,
It made like the drink a lot colder. Like I don't know why,
right.
but it did. Yeah,
It's because this is some of the
Sunny
coolest,
D.
cleanest glass right here.
Yeah, Sunny D
Just
sucks, but I don't like Sunny D. But I'm just saying, back in the day,
absolutely, absolutely, man.
or OJ.
For sure, man. But yeah, so overall, Batman Forever, it's you got to be in a certain mood. You might have to pound a few and then go watch it and have some fun with your bros and just pick it apart, almost Mystery Science 2000 or 3000 style, riff track style. Maybe one day we might get around to it at some point if we're all free. But even if we don't roast the movie overtly, it's still a good time. If you haven't seen it, it's worth watching at least once in your lifetime for sure, especially if you're a Batman and comic book fan, just to see how far we've come and from where we were and whatnot. And it's not too shabby for a 90s movie. A-list cast in there, and a pretty original story and tone and everything, and some elements that were introduced in this one that, again, didn't retread and did break some new ground. Um, but yeah, I think Batman Forever is solid. Definitely go check it out again if you haven't seen it before. But that's all the time for us today. Thanks for joining us. Hope you enjoyed the video, and keep it locked for some more videos in the near future. And once again, thank you for joining us. I'm Jay. Here's Ricardo. Go follow the socials down below. Join in on the comments and the fun. And until next time, peeps, see ya.
Yep.